Here's why you need to grow your business to at least $10 million a year in revenue. Now, when it comes to business, there are many different types of businesses. There are many different industries. There are many different revenue levels of different businesses. Now, as you get more involved in the business world, you'll start to see that some companies are not really businesses. Now, of course, like on the technical side, they are a business, right? And maybe they make $1 million a year. It's a 7-figure company. But does that really mean anything? The reality is that a 7-figure company isn't really all that meaningful. I believe that a business truly becomes a business at the $10 million mark, and here's why. Before you get to $10 million, there are many things that your business needs, but it's choked because it doesn't have enough finances to cover all those expenses. You're not able to hire the best talent. You're not able to really delegate, like you're having to work in the business. So is it really a business or is it a high paying job, right? You have to find people that want to maybe contribute capital as investors, and it's very tough before you get to 10 million. And we'll talk about some of these things on why I believe you need to grow to $10 million. But if you're a business owner and you're not at the $10 million mark, some of these should sound pretty familiar. You're probably at the point where you're like, man, I'm exhausted. I work all the time. I'm not really able to spend enough time with my family, and on and on and on. So we have all these different things that come up, and we're not able to really get past them until we figure out what is wrong. And you'd actually be surprised because a lot of companies, they get stuck within this $2 to $5 million mark because they don't know the basics of business. Some of these people, they literally just accidentally stumbled upon a business, and that's great. I think that's amazing. And I was there at one point in my life where I started a business. I had no idea what I was doing. Yes, I went to school for business, but they definitely didn't teach me what it's like to actually run a business. And so when you get into that world, you start realizing that, okay, this is a lot different than what I thought. And I need to know certain things in order to grow the business. And so through experience, through starting multiple companies and growing different companies, I've realized that once you get to the $10 million mark, a few things happen. And number one, just like we talked a little bit about before, you have enough money to do the things that you should have been doing all along. There are a lot of expenses that you have as a business, and before you get to the $10 million mark, you don't really have enough cash flow to do those things. So you're really struggling, things are tight, you're not hiring enough people, you're not able to really delegate much. You're kind of in a bad position because you don't have the financial prowess to do whatever you want. And that's what you really need as a business. So there's a lot of things that you need to be spending money on and your business really needs, but you're only sticking to the things that are like immediately necessary because you are not able to spend money on the things that are maybe optional or would make your life easier. So you're really sacrificing a lot of those comforts in order to business running. And so a lot of people just get stuck here. They don't really know what to do. They don't know how to get to the next level. They don't have the money to make it to the next level. So they're stuck within that mark, usually under $5 million. Now, as you start breaking past that, as you start taking it to the next level and growing and your business starts making $10 million, all of a sudden you have the money to do those things. So you no longer have to worry about running payroll, paying your employees, hiring the best talent. And that really opens up a world of opportunity. And actually, if you look around, the venture capitalists, the VC firms, they will only start getting interested in businesses like private equity firms, that type of stuff. They'll only start getting interested in businesses when they hit the $10 million mark. Why is that? Well, before you get to the $10 million mark, sure, you might have a decent product, you might have a decent team, but it doesn't really become a business until you've hit that $10 million mark. So that's when you start getting interest from private equity firms, right? And so they look at you and they're like, okay, cool. Well, we actually want to buy your company. So you start getting buyers, you start getting offers. And before that, by the way, capital is very constricted. You might have had some investors at the beginning. You might have convinced some friends, some family to invest into your company. Great, you started the business, it's growing. They got their loans back or whatever, and maybe they're getting payments, or maybe they're potentially just waiting until you exit the business and they get a percentage, right? But as you start growing and before you get to the $10 million mark, capital really dries up. It's hard to get capital, and two things happen. Number one, nobody wants to lend to you because they're not going to be in the first position. The first people that lend to you, those are the people that are prioritized, right? These are additional lenders and they don't really want to stack more debt. Secondly, if you do manage to get additional debt, you're gonna have to pay a really high interest rate, because that's just, they know they're taking on a higher risk, so they don't want to put themselves in that position, and they're gonna charge a hefty interest rate in order to give you capital. So now that we know those things are going on, once we hit the $10 million mark, we all of a sudden have access to more capital. PE firms, private investors, people want to buy your company, you might start getting some offers. However, I would argue that it's actually smarter to keep most businesses, especially if you've grown it and it's something that you like and you trust and you know that it performs well. If you have a lot of businesses, this logic doesn't apply. Even if you love the business, even if it's the most amazing business, or the most amazing product, the most amazing service, whatever it is, the most amazing thing you've ever built, it still might be worth selling. If it makes sense, I would still consider selling. If it's your only company, maybe it's worth just keeping it, because you're starting to get these offers, but you know what that also means? You're able to attract private investors. Maybe you just need an influx of cash. You don't necessarily need to sell. You're also able to start attracting the top talent. Now people are taking you seriously. Now you have a business that's a real business, and now you're not overworking your employees. And now these people they know that they're part of something big. They're part of this big team, and they're also part of the next growth path, right? So they're in that $10 million mark, and maybe your next part of scaling is going to be from 10 to 25 or 10 to 50 million. And they want to be part of that growth spurt that's going to happen. So you're going to start attracting some very interesting talent. And most importantly, I think out of all of this, and this kind of comes from my passive income background, you can create this to be literally a cash cow for yourself. You can hire people to run the whole business for you. Why? Because you're making $10 million a year. You have enough money to do it. Now, it's not really life-changing money, right? But you could definitely have a pretty comfortable lifestyle. Have somebody hire a CEO, hire a COO. You could hire a whole team of executives to run the company for you, and you just become a passive owner. And so one of the strategies that I've used in this space is also to become like a passive owner of businesses and have a very skilled team come in and operate the business for me, because that allows me to do what I love to do. And that's coaching and building these tools and speaking and all those aspects of business, which they're still very involved in business, but it allows me to be a strategic thinker and strategically influence the businesses, and somebody else is in actually executing on all these things. And it's a great balance. It creates a passive experience for me and clears my mind to be able to think clearly when I need to be strategic about growing my business and helping take it to the next level. Alrighty guys, these are the reasons that you need to grow your business to $10 million a year. There's many resources that I have on my Instagram, on my website. Do not hesitate to reach out. We have a lot of consultations that we've been doing recently to help people take their business to $10 million or more. We actually have a whole consulting division of my company, so I'd be happy to help you with that. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next video.